Hello, it's Sarah Jane from Cards and a Cuppa, and I'm here today with week 4 of our 12 weeks of Christmas series. And for today's little project, I'm going to decorate this slate heart that I purchased. I think this would make a lovely teacher's gift because it's got that sort of chalkboard effect with little faux poinsettias, and it's really easy to make. I've got a few pointers as I'm going though, and a few things that you need to remember before you start. First of all, I'd just like to say that I got these in the works, and I got a pack of 4 for just £3, so I think they're quite easy to find. I don't think you'll have too much trouble getting them. The main thing is, because we've heat embossed this sentiment, the main thing I have to point out is that this whole slate gets really hot, so you've got to do it on a work surface that will withstand the heat, and also you've got to be really careful that although you don't touch the actual embossed part, the rest of it is really hot as well, and it stays hot for a long time. So just be really careful and aware of that, and if you're a bit worried, then possibly just stamp it with white craft ink and leave it to dry rather than heat embossing it. So we're going to start with the slate heart, and I've got this sentiment which is from Cozy Christmas. It's the May the magic of the season fill your heart and home. There's plenty of other really good sentiments. You could do the Merry Christmas or the Christmas wishes from this set, but also I think this one here from the Hostess set 6 Sayings would be a lovely sentiment to stamp on there. So let's get started and do this one with Cozy Christmas. You really need to be extra thorough with your embossing buddy, because you don't want powder to stick where you don't want it. But having said that, if you stamp this sentiment and it's wonky or it's incorrect, as long as you don't heat emboss it, you can also wash this. So you can do this as many times as you need to do if you make a mistake. So that's a really handy thing to know. Okay, so you just stamp onto the slate and lift off. I'm quite happy with that. Take the embossing powder folder, cover it in the powder. Now it's not as easy to get the excess off as it is on card because you can't really flick it, but as long as you wipe everything off that you don't want to emboss, you should be fine. So okay, now I'm going to heat emboss, and I'll speed this up, but I will let you know how long it takes at after I've heated it up. So that was about 1 minute and 20 seconds to melt this. It is really hot, like I said, and you'll probably notice there that it didn't start to melt until the whole thing had heated up. So it does take quite a long time, much longer than embossing on paper or card. So whilst we're waiting for that to cool down enough for us to actually touch it, should we make the poinsettias here? So to make these, all I've got is the Petite Petals punch, and I'm just going to punch 3 of the flowers in Cherry Cobbler, and then just 2 in Mossy Meadow. And then I'm doing it onto my piercing mat, and I've got my scoring tool, and then what I did was sort of lines from the petal to the centre, from the outer point of the petal to the centre, to make it look poinsettia-y, I suppose, and then just a bit of circular just to give it a bit of shape. So you're going to take a pair of scissors, can't find my snips, and then you're going to just use two petals of this flower, and for one, and then 2 and a 1 for another flower, and then we're just going to use a 2 and a 1 for the other flower, for the third flower. So I'm just going to add that with a dab of Tombow. So I found the easiest way to do this is just to put a dab of the glue onto the green, because it's hard to find where you want it if you just put the glue on the red. And I'm just going to offset that to the petals on the back like that. And there's your poinsettias. Now that's still warm, but it's not really hot like it was. So now we can get on and do the chalkboard effect. So I'm just going to take a sponge and some Whisper White craft ink and just add a few smudges of white ink. So you're just going to smudge it out and spread out the ink, because you don't want big lumps of it. You want that chalkboard effect without too much ink. Now take your gold thread, take a length of that, maybe that's probably 40 centimetres. You want 3 of them. Okay, then I like to just, because it's come off a roll, it tends to be a bit twisted and curly. So all I do is just run my fingers down it just to uncurl it a bit. It does make a difference. So I'll just add a glue dot on the back of each flower. This just allows the gold thread to have something to stick to. And then I'm going with the bunch and scrunch method of gold thread. So pop that on the back of there, folding in any bits that are too big until you're happy with it. I like to always make sure the ends are tucked away, so all you've got is loops showing. That's that. Have that bit there, and repeat on the other two. Okay, so now I'm going to use Crystal Effects to secure this to the slate. because it needs something that's going to dry solid. So add a generous glob. To the backs. You've got a fair bit of wiggle time. And then just to finish, I just added a little dab of gold glitter glue to the centre of the flowers. And then you're going to have to leave that to dry, probably overnight, so that the crystal effects goes hard, and so does the glitter glue. So there you have the perfect teacher's gift or neighbour's gift, and I hope you've enjoyed this week's tutorial. For lots more tutorials and cards and ideas, please don't forget to visit my blog, and thanks for looking today.